Right, so we can go ahead and get started. My name is Chrisley Lindsay, and I work for ProMiles Software Development Corporation, and we are the vendor for the Nevada Overdimensional permitting system. And then today we also have Angie and Dave from the Nevada DOT. As we go through the site today, if you guys have any questions, you can add it to the chat, or before we move along each screen, we'll give you guys a chance to see if you have any questions before we move on. Okay, so here on my screen, we are at the login page. And on this screen, this will give you some information about the site. And this is also where you'll log into the system. So up here at the top, it'll just give you a little bit of information, such as before you can get into the system, you'll have to create an account, and also let you know that we have user tutorial videos about different topics in the system that you can watch if you have any questions about the system. Okay, in this first box right here, we have the login area. This is where once you create an account and your company is in the system, you'll have a username and password that's associated with your account. And so that's where you'll enter that information here. If you forget your login information, we have these two links, the I forgot my username and I forgot my password. The I forgot my username is associated with your email address. And the I forgot my password, you'll have to enter, there's 3 security questions in the system that you'll have to answer in order to be able to use this functionality. Below here, you have the helpful links section. The first link here is the create company account, and this is where you'll go to create your company in the system. The user tutorial videos, that link will open up a list of the different tutorial videos that are available for the overdimensional permitting system. We are adding more videos. There are currently 2 up right now, and more will be added by launch. The permit search, that's more for enforcement, so they're able to go search permits and see if they're valid permits in the system. And this annual permit attachments link, there are the annual permits in the system. Each require certain attachments to be uploaded with your permit PDF, or when they're printed, that have to be with your permit application or your permit. So those are available by selecting the annual permit attachments link. And then off here to the right side, that has information for any important news or announcements. It'll also provide information here for the email address for Nevada DOT in case you have any questions with your account creation or throughout when you're in the permitting system. And then also DOT can reach out to us here at ProMiles. So if there's any questions that we can help with as well, we'll reach out to the customers. Okay, so before we move on from here to create an account, is there any questions?
I have an observation that I noticed when I created. This is Gladys at ComData. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
So when you create the account, you have to wait till somebody there approves you before you can log on. I'll just throw that in there.
Yes, it does depend on the type of account you have.
Okay.
If you have a company with the US DOT, it does not require account approval, but permit services, regular accounts without DOT, and then government agencies, those will require the permit office to approve the account before you can log in. Okay. So we'll go ahead here and select this Create Company Account link. Now this will bring you to the Create New Account screen. And then in this drop-down option, you'll select your type of company that you have. So again, the options are if you have a company with the US DOT, a permit service, personal use, so personal use or a company that does not have a US DOT, and then government agency. So just for today, we will select an account with a US DOT number. So when that's selected here, I will enter my DOT. So once that's entered, you select the search button, and what this does is it goes off and it looks at Safer, and then it finds your USDOT number, and then it pulls in your company information. So here is the name of the company and their information, and then you have the options to create the account, or if for whatever reason you entered a wrong number or something like that, you can select cancel. So before I select create an account, are there any questions on the screen? Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and select create account. Okay, and down here, it will pull in the company information from Safer because I did have a company with a DOT. For the other company types, all of these fields are blank. Any field that has the asterisk in it is required. So with this company, you do see that all these grayed out fields that are non-editable, that's pulled in from Safer, and they're uneditable because if any of this information is incorrect, it would have to be updated in Safer, and then the account can be created and pulled that information from there. Okay, so this DBA field is an optional field. And then the delivery method is required, but it defaults to email. And so the email method means that after your permit is issued and purchased, it will send you an email with the permit PDF. The other option is web download. Web download is always available on your company dashboard for your issued permits. So you would select that if you did not want to have your permit PDF emailed to you. Okay, and then down here, of course, as you create an account, you want to enter in your user information so that way you can log into the system. So I'm just going to enter some information here. Okay, so once you enter your name, your username, your email and phone number for your password, you'll notice here there are some password requirements, such as your character length, what type of characters are required. And just to note that you cannot reuse a password that has been used within the past 90 days, and you cannot reuse it up to 3 times. So within that 90 days, you know, you have to use 3 different passwords. Then after that, you can reuse passwords. Okay. Once you have your password here, then you can create company. But before I do that, is there any questions about this screen? Okay, so I'm going to select create company. And then there's this insurance message that lets you know that if you are hauling a manufactured home or frame, mobile homes, sheds, office trailers, or such structures such as those, then you are required to upload insurance. If not, you can select no. If you will have insurance, you select yes. What this will do is it will populate an insurance panel on your company dashboard. If you select no, but later on you do need to haul one of those, you will have the ability to, when you get into the permit application, it'll remind you that you need insurance. And then if you select yes in there, then it will populate your insurance panel. So if you select no here, you still have the options to add it later. Okay, any questions here? Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and select no. And then right here, you'll have a message depending on your account type. This one is a USDOT, so it tells us that the account is created successfully. If you had a permit service, personal use, or government, it would tell you that your account is pending and that it'll go off to the permit office. If it does go to the permit, once it goes to the permit office, if they approve or deny your account, you will get an email. So it will be whatever email is in that pass screen that is associated to your account. Okay, so I'm going to select return to login. And now I'm going to log into the system. And so this is a company that has already been created. So we have some examples here to demo here on the dashboard. Now, when you first log in, it'll bring you to your company dashboard. And this is where you'll do all of your business with the permitting system. One thing to note up here at the top, it'll tell you when you first log in that you must define your security questions in your account settings. Just a word of warning, if you choose not to do that, that yellow banner is on every screen in the permitting system until you actually update your security questions. So before we go over everything here on the dashboard, we will go here to look at your user account. You can get there in two ways. You can select this Manage User link in the banner, or you can select your name and then go to Account. And this brings you to the user management screen. And this has your information that you entered on your Create Account screen. Every user that's created when the account's created is an admin user. The difference in the different types of users here, an admin user has the ability to have this company management link and they can manage data for the company. And if you are a user, then you only have the ability to edit your user management information. So if you notice here on the screen, your username is locked. When you set up your account, that's your username throughout the life of your profile, but you can change your other information. That's all these other fields that are editable. You have the ability to change your password here with Manage Password, and to create your security questions, you would answer those right here. So there's 3 different questions. And this is where you would enter your answers. So let's just, the questions are basically, what is your mother's maiden name, the street you grew up in, and what is your high school mascot. And then once those are answered, you have this update button, and it'll tell you your security questions were successfully updated. And then after that, when you exit out of this banner, it should go away. And then next here is your preferences for your user. And this is where you it'll throughout the system, wherever there is the date or time, you can see if the long format, short format, how you want it to display. Like that little green message that just came across the screen, that's a toast message. You can say how long you want that message to display on your screen. And then this last field, whenever you're in the permit application for a routed permit, we'll look at that in a minute. You have this trip guide section at the top, and you can either expand it or you can have it collapsed where you don't see it every time you open that screen. So once you have your preferences, then you can hit save. Before I do that, does anybody have any questions in this user management section? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and save. You see my toast message that it's been saved. I'm going to exit out of this banner now, and I'm going to go back to the company dashboard. So from the company dashboard, it's basically broken down into 3 different sections. You have these admin links off to the left, your permit panel in the middle, and then you have these other panel over here to the left. I'm going to just start over here. First is your shopping cart. You can get to the shopping cart by either selecting this go to shopping cart link, or over here on the left side, there's also a shopping cart. Over here, it will tell you how many permits you have in the shopping cart and the total fee for the total of permits in your shopping cart. Then for your statistics panel, this gives you information for the permits that you've issued today and the permits that are self-issued. Just keep in mind that for the Nevada system, the routed permits are not self-issuable. They will all be submitted to the permit office. So those won't be self-issued. And then for your messages section here, this will just give you some information or any warnings or notices that you may need for the system. Okay, so then over here on the left side, of course, we're on the company dashboard. The next link is company management. So if you are an admin user, you will have this company management link. If you are just a regular user, you would not have this link. Okay, so this opens up the company management screen. And then of course on this screen, it just gives you the information about your company. You do have the option here to change your delivery method. And then any locked fields. So this one came from Safer so that the company name can't be changed. And then in the company assets, you have a couple different fields here. For your contacts, you could add any like business contacts that the permit office would need to reach out if they needed to contact your company. They could reach out to those contacts. The address you have, this is where it has your physical and mailing address. That can be edited if you are not a company with the USDOT. Companies with USDOTs, that information comes from Safer, so that needs to be updated in Safer. Terminals, you can add different company locations. And then users, this is where your admin users can go in and create profiles for additional users in the system. And then you can also edit any users that are in your company. So to create a new user, you select the create user and then the create user link. And this opens up the user info. And this is where you can enter in, of course, their name, their usernames, their emails, phone numbers, anything that has the asterisk is required. You can designate their user type, and the start date is usually the day that you created their user. And then, of course, you have to create their username and password. These links here, if you have any users that are no longer active or that no longer work for you, you can lock out their account so that way they can't access your company profile. And then here on the preference screen, it's just the same type of things that are in your account. So then when they log into the system, they can also manage their own preferences from this link. So, okay, does anybody have any questions about the user management? Okay, moving on. Okay, let's go back to our company assets. Next is vehicles. In this vehicles section, you can view the different vehicles associated with your account. You can also add vehicles here. There are a couple different ways to add vehicles in the system. So you can add them individually here in this section. Or next, we'll look at the vehicle import, where you can import like a whole spreadsheet of your vehicles. And then in the actual permit applications, you can also save vehicles there and it will save them into your profile. There's a couple of different things here underneath vehicles that if you use any of our other permitting systems. This is a little bit different. Nevada allows you to save vehicle configurations, so you can do that from the axle weights and spacing screen in the permit application. Also, if you have any self-propelled vehicles where you have to have an approval for those, or if you have a trailer with a rear steer approval, these sections will show you if there is any of those saved for your vehicle. So you can look by your vehicle and here in your company management to see if you have any of those saved. Okay. Before moving on, does anybody have any questions? All right. So the next off link on the screen to the left, we have vehicle import. So on this screen, this allows you to upload your vehicle inventory. It will allow you to upload a spreadsheet via Excel or a CSV file. You'll notice these first couple of fields are mandatory in the spreadsheet. That's your unit number, your year, make, VIN, plate, and state. The type and the terminal are optional. But to upload it in the system, you just choose the file. Then from your computer, you can upload the file. And then here, if you notice, I have these all in order as they are the columns here. But if you had them a different order, you could select in the drop down to let the system know which column your spreadsheet's in. And then here for the data rows that it starts on, that's one thing that kind of gets you sometimes. If you have your labels up at the top, then your rows of vehicles actually start at the second row. So you just want to make sure you add where your vehicles actually start at, and then import. And then it'll give you information to let you know if there was any failures that it couldn't update or if it uploaded all your vehicles. So here it does show that they uploaded all 4 of my vehicles. There was 0 failures. And so now if you go to the company dashboard, your company management, and look in your vehicles, those vehicle inventory we just uploaded will be there in your vehicle section. Okay. Any questions? Okay, the next is the pre-trip planning. Oh, I see a hand up. Victor, do you have a question?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Does each user have to do that for the trucks and stuff, or if I do it, will each one that's under us be able to view the trucks?
It'll upload it to your company, so everyone that
Okay.
that logs in under your company will be able to see them.
Awesome, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so for this pre-trip planning, if you notice right now, it tells you that this page is currently unavailable. This will be implemented or available after launch, but just to kind of give you an overview about what this screen is, this is supposed to be a quick guide to be able to go in and enter in your dimensions and add in your origin and destination and to be able to get a route on the map. Just understand that the pre-trip planning does not take like bridge analysis into consideration. So this is a tool that can help you plan a route. However, whenever you go in to order a permit, it may be slightly different. But that is the purpose of the pre-trip planning. Okay, next we have the reports. And as a customer, you have a customer reconciliation report, and you're able to, put in your date parameters here and select your specific vehicles, and then you can run the report. And what it does is it gives you a report in either Excel or PDF that shows your permit ID, your permit number, your permit type, and the permit fee, and then the permit totals, so you can reconcile. Any questions there? Okay. And actually, I think I do have some permits issued here, so we can I can just open this up real quick. We have a date range. I'll just say all permits, run the report. You notice it downloads it up here. And then when you open it up, you can see your report. It has your count of your total of permits and then your total permit amount. Okay. Next is your shopping cart. Like I said, you can get to that 2 ways from your dashboard. So this opens up your shopping cart. On this side is all of your permits that have fees. If you happen to have any permits that for whatever reason the permits don't have fees, they would show up here in this no charge section. And those just need to be printed. Any with fees would have to go off to the payment processor. So you can select your permits individually with the little checkbox next to the permit fee. And you'll notice off to the side here, it'll tell you your order total and how many permits you have selected. If you select more than one, or you can select all of them by selecting the select all. And you'll notice that it changes the more checkboxes you have. To check out, you would select the checkout button. It brings you to this permits to be authorized screen. It would list all of your permits that you selected, your total, and then your payment types for Nevada are you can pay by credit card or ACH, which is an electronic check. And then to go purchase your permits, you'd select the process payment, and then that sends you off to the payment processor. Once you purchase them, then you come back and then you'll get a screen like this that gives you your permit ID, your permit number, and it'll give you your issued permit PDF. Anybody have any questions? Okay, and then your next link here is, oh, I see a hand up.
So does it automatically email the permit too?
It will email your permit PDF to your email.
Okay, just making sure. And then nothing changes as far as the payment methods that are in place today, right?
I mean,
if your count, however you pay today is how you do it moving forward, I take it.
With the exception of there's not going to be billing anymore.
Okay, that's
so there will be ACH, and then there will be credit cards, and it'll go through the cyber source like it does now for credit cards.
So when you go to your credit card processor, is there any way to provide us with your originating bank ID and name so that the funds can pass through? Like our accounts are pretty secure, so they don't let anybody just take money out of your account. So would y'all be able to provide that? And I can email you separately if you want me to.
Dave, is Dave on here?
Yeah, I was gonna say I am. Yeah,
okay.
I was gonna say, why don't you go ahead and email it? The credit card processing, if you've been paying with the credit card, it's gonna be exactly the same as it has been. The only thing that we've really added is the ACH option, so you can do an electronic check. And we took away the billing account. So if you'd been doing a billing account, and we're not gonna be able to take cash at the door anymore. So that's the only real changes.
Okay. And is there credit card charges, additional charges outside of the state fee?
No.
Okay. That's it. Thank you.
All right. Okay, so the next link off to the left is the annual permits link. So when you open this, it brings you to an annual permit attachments screen. Like I said before, if you have annual permits, then there are certain documents that are required to be attached to your permit. In the permit application, when you order an annual permit, at the very last screen, it also gives you a list of the attachments that you need. So you won't necessarily need all of these attachments for an annual permit. So you do have several places in the permitting system to get those. It also populates the links on your permit PDF. So when you web download them, just pull one up real quick. This is an annual. You'll notice you also have the links here on your permit PDF. So you have plenty of chances to get your annual permit attachments. Okay. All right, so next, back on the company dashboard, the most important link here is your new permits, so your order new permit link. If you have already created your account and you're in the production system, you will notice that that order new permit link is hidden right now. You will not have access to order permits until the system goes live next Tuesday. All right. And then your most important part of your company dashboard is your permit queue. So this lists all of the different permits associated to your account. You do have the search filter here where you can search by different parameters to locate any of your permits that associated to your account. Also, notice here on the dashboard, you have different link actions or icons here that you can do for your different permits depending on the status that they are. So you always have access to this view permit details. So when you select that, it just opens up the details associated with that one permit application. So of course it has, all your vehicles, dimensions, the statuses, the timestamps for, if your permit was submitted, if it was approved. So all that information is provided here in your permit details. If you have your permits issued and you have a PDF, then your PDFs are available here on your dashboard. And then also, if you opened up that permit details, there was a tab for documents. Your PDF is also available there. And then you have your copy permit where you can copy your permit and it brings in the information from that permit into a new permit application. And then if you start a permit, but you haven't submitted it or you haven't issued it, then you have options to, you can continue it to resume the permit, or you can delete it if you're going to cancel it and you don't need it anymore. So those are some of the actions. Does anybody have any questions about those? All right, so I'm just going to order one permit to kind of step through the permit application process. So I'm going to select the order new permit. On this first screen, it just pulls in your company information. If you notice across the top, it will give your, if you have a USDOT, it'll put it there and it'll give your company name. Select next. It's going to bring you to your contact information screen. And so this pulls in the information from your company. You have the option to select additional delivery methods, or if you want to, say you want to email it to the main company, but you want to email it to the driver, you can add additional emails here via delivery methods. And then, so if you want to change any of this, you can. It is editable. Okay, Victor? You have a question?
As far as emailing to our drivers, I do have a question. Are we allowed to, since almost everyone has smartphones, if instead of having the paper printed out, can they bring it up on their phone, and will that be allowed, or does it have to be printed out and signed?
It can be shown electronically.
Oh, it can?
Yes, and it can now.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. And this last field here, company reference, that's an optional field. If you have some type of information that you want to add to help identify the permit, it also shows up, the company reference will show up on your dashboard, so you can search for it there too. Say you have certain text there, and then you want to look for all those permits that have that, then that will show up on your dashboard as well, but it does not print on the permit PDF. Okay, going next. Our next screen is our permit type. So on this screen, first you have the option to select if you need an annual permit or if you need a 5-day single trip permit. And then based off of your selection that you chose, it will populate additional sets of permits. So these here are the options for the 5-day single trips. So I'm going to select the general single trip. And then once you select it, it will give you some information here that is goes along to provide information for the general single trip to make sure that is the permit type that you want to order. And then you have your start and end dates. So you can choose your start date, and then based off of the date you've selected, it will populate your end date. So these are 5-day single trips. So it'll populate the date for 5 days and the end date. Okay. All right, now you have your vehicle screen. So from here, you can select your vehicle inventory and you can choose one of the vehicles that are in your inventory, or you can also add a new vehicle, enter in your unit number, your VIN, and then when you select add vehicle, it now adds it to your vehicle inventory. So for this permit type, it's a general single trip. You only have to enter in the power unit on this screen. However, if you have a trailer, you can add it here. Also, if you get to the next screen and, well, it says that if you are hauling a load, you have to enter a trailer. If you are hauling and you get to the next screen and you have not entered a trailer, it will tell you you have to go back and add a trailer. So I won't add one right now. We'll move next. And then here on the load details screen, I am going to select haul, and we'll look at that in just a minute. You'll see that the system gives a banner message. Before we do that, we can enter a load description. And then, of course, you enter into your dimensions. So I'm going to put in my height, my width, length, front and rear overhang. Okay, so at this point, if you noticed, it says down here, you do not enter a GVW. It defaults to saying that the load GVW is legal. If your load is not legal, there is this option up here to checkbox that says load is overweight. If you hover right here on this little question mark, it tells you that overweight is over 80,000 pounds gross weight or over legal axle weights per the federal bridge formula, which is 20,000 pounds for a single and 34,000 for a tandem. So if your vehicle is overweight, then you would select this load is overweight checkbox. And then down here at the bottom, it tells you that axle information will be collected on the next page. It also gives you this option to say if your load is a dual lane trailer. If it is, you would select that checkbox, and if not, you don't check it. And if you do, on the next screen, when you enter your axle weights and spacings, it also requires you to enter dolly width, or it gives a dolly width option. Okay, so I'm going to select next, but remember I did not add a trailer on the previous screen, and it did tell me that if you are hauling, then you do have to have a trailer. So if I select next, it's going to give me this banner up at the top to tell me that I do have to add a trailer. So if I select that link, it will bring me back. And then of course I can just add my trailer and then select it from your inventory or add a new trailer. And then you can select next. And then when you're back on the screen, you can select next again. Okay, so now when you're on the axle weights and spacing screen, of course, you can add your axle count here. If you notice, for this permit type, you do not have to enter axle weights. You would enter in your spacings, and then based off of your spacings, the system tells you what your total weight can be. And then, of course, it calculates your total spacings based off of the axle spacings that you entered. So I entered in my 6 axle spacings. It up here, it tells me what my total weight can be. If you select the display configuration button, it does, of course, show you your little configuration here, and it tells you what your allowed weights are in your axle groupings. Okay. The other screens that are fields required here are your tread width and your axle weight. So I will enter those, or axle width. So let me enter those. Okay. Now, before I go on, up here at the top, there's these 2 buttons. One is the Save Axle Configuration. So if you select this button, you'll notice it gives this toast message down here that your axle configuration was saved. Now, when you go to your vehicle inventory and your company data, remember one of those drop downs that I said that is available is for axle configuration. And so that's what it will do is you're able to see this right here. It's your vehicle configuration. And also, next time you start a new permit application that uses that vehicle, so this is saved to the vehicle I selected on the vehicle screen. When you select that vehicle and then you get to the axle weights and spacing screen here, there will be this button right here where it says no axle configuration found. It will be a button instead that says load axle configuration. And when you select it, you'll be able to choose whether you choose that saved axle configuration or if you enter new axle information on the screen. Okay, is there any questions about that? Okay. All right, so now we get to the route screen. Now, when we were in our account settings up here, in the preferences, one of the preferences is if you want this enter a trip guide to be expanded like it is right now, or if you want it by default to be collapsed. And what that would look like is when you open the screen, it would look like this. You also have the option to where when you're on this screen, it'll tell you right here where to go. And so it's like a reminder if you prefer to have this displayed every time you can. If not, you go update it in your account settings. So this enter a trip section basically just gives you information for how you enter a trip information, such as in your origin and destinations, you have these drop-down fields where you can enter either an address, you can pick an intersection between 2 roads, you could choose the lat long to where you can either, if you know the lat long, you can enter it, or you can go and you find a place on the map. Border crossings gives you a drop-down list of border crossings at the border. And then military bases are the military bases. And of course, mines are any of the mine locations. So just for this demo, I'll choose border crossing. And you see here that it populates a list of the different border crossings. Let's see, we'll choose this one. And then for lat long, you notice here it is the fields where you can enter or you select the find. And then of course it opens the map. And you can use the hold button here where you can go and move the map around. You can zoom in to a particular location. There's also the option if you want to zoom into a particular city, you can enter that city name here and select go. You have the option to change your map here to where if you want the regular map view or you have satellite view. You also have the option, like in Google, you can bring your little Google guy, drop him down, and you have Street View. You can also zoom in and out using the plus and minus buttons. On the map itself, these different layers here, the green are the state maintained roads, which is called the ON system. And then the red highlights are where there are restrictions. So when there are restrictions, obviously that prohibits access to that roadway, and it has to get like approval from the permit office to be able to travel on those roads. So I'm just gonna zoom here to the map and select. Let's zoom in close enough. I select the select button, put it on the map, and you notice it puts like a little red balloon that with a D. That D stands for destination, and then select done. And then if you'll notice that it pulls in that lat long right there on to these fields. This add via point gives you the opportunity to, if you know the highways that you're traveling, you can enter this here, and the map will try to generate using those locations that were entered. That also depends on if you enter roadways in order that you're traveling, and make sure the spellings or anything like that's correct. And it will try to find that route that you entered. But it also takes into consideration if there's any like restrictions or anything like that, it will route around those. And then you also have the ability to add via points on the map itself. Okay, but I'm not going to enter any of those. I'm just going to select route. It does give you that little spinny wheel to let you know it's still generating a route. And then when it's done, you get your blue route line on the map. And it has your origin and destination displayed. And then below the map, here it gives you your driving directions with your origin, destination. It tells you your total mileage, so your trip distance. And then it gives you like an abbreviated route description, just the basic, these are the roads you travel. And then it gives you the turn-by-turn directions, which includes the distance that you travel on each road, if you're ramping, that type of information. And of course, your total distance at the bottom. Okay, so before we move on from the route screen, does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, I got one.
Okay.
On a city level for like Las Vegas, I move a lot of equipment local in town. Will it auto-populate a route that is approved, or do I still gotta explain step by step what route I want?
You can put in your origin and destination there, depending on where your location is in Las Vegas, but also take in consideration that none of the routed permits are self-issue. So you can get a route, or if it doesn't get a route, there is an option up here at the top where you can say, I have a problem with it, and then you could submit it in for routing assistance to the permit office, and so they can help route you. But either way, it does have to go into the permit office for review.
All right.
Anybody else have a question? Will it route on city streets? Yes, it does do off-system routing. But again, that has to be submitted to the permit office for their review so they can approve it. Okay. All right. So there's no more questions. Then we'll select down here and select the next button. All right. now you're on the summary screen. This screen basically,
Chrisley, does somebody else still have a question? I still see a hand raised.
Hi,
I
yeah,
see.
I was just curious if the system is ever actually going to be self-issue.
Eventually,
Well,
yes.
I was going to say I'll
Okay.
speak for Angie, but that's the goal. Yes.
Nope, I was had to get unmuted.
Yep.
So yeah, the plan is eventually, yes. Once we can get, so the bridge data is not in there, like, oh, the weight capacities for the bridges, bridge heights aren't in there yet. So there's what's going to be released on Tuesday, and then we're going to be building on it for a little while.
Okay.
For sure, we're going to be adding more and more and more stuff to it that aren't going to make the go live date. So eventually the plan is to have self-issue 5-day trip permits, but we have to get all the logic in there before we can do that.
Okay. And do you already have an idea of the dimensions that are going to be included with that self-issue?
For the very beginning, we'll probably start off small. I don't want to say exactly the dimensions right this second, because we haven't locked those in yet. So when we first do it, we'll start off small, kind of test it, see how it's going. And then eventually, as we get everything in there, we'll up it and up it and up it.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
So Angela, do you have a
Yes, ma'am.
do you have a time frame? Any kind of? I
No.
mean, we're not going to hold you to it, of course.
No.
You know, but like, is
Unfortunately, I don't. There's a lot of work that we got to do on our side as far as the bridge data goes before we can get it put into this system. So I
Gotcha.
don't know how long that's going to take. It's something that we've been working on. It's kind of on we're concentrating on getting the system out on Tuesday with what we can. Once the system goes live, then we'll go back to working on the other stuff that didn't get in for Tuesday's launch.
Sure. And then, I mean, do you have any idea, like 6 months, a year? I'm just no idea right now, right?
I honestly, I couldn't tell you.
That's fine. I just wanted to have that, to know that. Okay, so I won't bug
Sure.
you again about it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
all right. So now you're on the summary screen, and this, like, it just basically gives you a summary of everything from your permit. It'll give you your permit fee. It tells you the name of the permit type that you selected, and it gives the summary of your contact information, of course, your permit type, your start and end dates, the vehicle information that you entered, including your trailer, if you entered a trailer, your load information, all your dimensions. One thing to point out in the system, if you have a dimension that is considered a legal dimension, even though you entered it, like say you entered 14-foot height, that's a legal dimension. So on your summary screen here, it's going to display legal, and on your permit PDF, it's also going to display as legal. And then, of course, if you entered any axle information, that's displayed. Your turn-by-turn route directions. If you have any permit instructions or allowed travel, or based off your dimensions, if you have pilot car information, any attest statements. So if your vehicle is large enough where you have a pilot car, you're going to have an attest statement down here at the bottom. On your annual permits at the bottom here, under additional information, you have an attest statement, and that's where those annual permit attachment links that you need for that particular annual is going to be listed right there. And then whenever you have an attest, you have to attest to it before you can select the submit button. Okay. Anybody have a question about this screen? Okay, so I'm going to hit submit. And this was a single trip permit, so of course it's not going to allow, it's not ready to issue. So it does tell you that it has status of pending. And then from here, you can select return to your company dashboard. You can select any of the links on the left. If this was a permit type that could self-issue, you would have a link right here that tells you, do you want to go ahead and purchase the permit now? If you select that link, it brings you off to the next screen to go off to the payment processor. And then of course you can also return to your dashboard. Okay, so that was really what we had to demo today. That's the basic functionality that you need to order a permit, and kind of overview of your company dashboard and how you manage your company, your user account, and like any vehicles that are associated to your account. So before we go today, does anybody have any questions for either us ProMiles or for Angie or Dave at DOT?
I do. This is Gladys. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I think I missed the part about the reporting. Did you go over reports?
Reports? Yes. Yeah, we have the reports link right here, which it gives you, there's only one report in the system. It's for the customers, and it is the customer reconciliation report. So for company users, it'll be permits for only their company. If you are a permit service, the report will tell you in the report, it'll give you the name of the company for that you order the permits for as well.
Perfect.
Okay. Does anybody else have any questions? Nope. All right, guys. Well, thank you all for joining our demo today. And if you guys have any questions when you get in the system, like I said, there is the DOT email on the dashboard. And then, of course, us here at ProMiles, we're also happy to help any way that we can. So you guys have a good day, and I hope you guys enjoy the system.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, guys.